Hello, everyone. I've been thinking about a few things and just want to kind of run those by you today. The real reason that business owners stay stuck, most of us understand this Google Maps. We use Google Maps or some version of a mapping system that gives us the beginning and end goal or end place. Um, and it'll tell us how long it's going to take us and a lot of valuable information uh, there. But the interesting thing about it is you start with a step. You start with this step and then this step, and then you get on that entrance ramp, and then you move over 3 lanes, and then before long you are moving forward and you are at your destination. A lot of business owners I've worked with, though, are waiting until they have the entire journey figured out in their business before they make a move. So I want to have this uh, complete clarity. I want to have complete confidence, and I want to have complete certainty that this product or service is going to do what I want it to do. But the reality is that most meaningful work doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen when we're making it perfect in our little laboratory or our little kitchen or our little mind space. Um, and this is important to understand. In business, clarity often comes through movement. Clarity comes through movement, not before movement. And so a lot of us are stuck because we aren't making any movement. We're just thinking through things. We're just perfecting things. We're trying to uh, do this mind game and get to the journey, but we're not taking any steps. So the core idea is you usually do not get the entire answer up front. Um, you get enough understanding to take a step. And I think many business owners already know what that step is. Not the entire roadmap, but the next step, the next direction to take, or the next action to take. And I like to call it, we know the next decision we need to make, and we know the next action we need to take. And I think it's important for us to think about that. So let's give some practical examples. So, right now you're stuck because you're not making any movements, but you know the movements you should be making. You don't know all of them, but you know the next one, like the call you should make, or the product you need to test, or the paperwork you need to file, the permit you need to file, or the proposal you need to send, or the conversation you need to have. And the issue is not more information. You've got enough information for now. Uh, the issue is you need to implement that one thing. So Anne Lamott is a writer. She wrote Bird by Bird, great writer, great, interesting person. And I've heard her say before that when she goes to write a story, um, she literally maybe has an idea, a thought, a small little thought. She has no idea what the characters are going to be, what they're going to do, or if there's even going to be characters. She has no idea. She just has this thought, and she begins to write it down. She begins to work on what she knows. And she puts her butt in a chair and she starts pulling threads and writing and those kind of things. And as she writes, then the next thing unfolds. And then the next thing unfolds. And before long, you have 20 pages written, right? But if you don't sit down in the chair and take the step that you know, the little, maybe it's the smell of grandmother's house on a Sunday afternoon. That's all she knows. She writes that down. And that begins then to take her to another step, to another step, to another step. And she's okay with not having the entire book mapped out. She's starting with something and she's doing that, and the writing itself will reveal the next part. And I think that's really, really important to for us as business owners to think about that. Now, there's reasons I think why we don't take those next steps, right? And in my advising, I see this quite often. If somebody tells me they're working to develop something, um, and it's taking them a long time to develop it, that's a signal to me, right? That something is going on. And it might be that they want things perfect. In other words, I don't want to launch. Well, that's out of some fear, right? It's a fear that somebody's going to make fun of me. Somebody's not going to like the tacos that I make. They're not going to like those. And I'm afraid of that. I'm going to be rejected by that. We might not have enough money yet to do what we're doing. So we're into this constant learning, this constant development apart from implementing or making any decisions. And when we do that, we're stuck. And so the way to get unstuck is to make the next step, is to do what you know to do. And then the next thing will reveal itself. But as long as you have fear, as long as you are afraid that if you publish or write this thing, somebody's going to think you're moronic or whatever, it's okay. It's totally fine. Just hit publish. Or if you want to be a caterer, it's okay. Make the catering thing and put it out there. If you're making pizza, you're making tacos, as I mentioned, it's fine. Make them and then invite people over and have a patio party and let them give you feedback. And I get it's scary, but nothing's going to happen until you take the next step. Until you take the next step, nothing will happen. And I know it's simple, but a lot of people are stuck right there. And you're somebody listening to this is stuck right there. And we have all these fears about launching this thing. We want it to be this, we want it to be that. Reid Hoffman, who is one of the co-founders of LinkedIn, said if you are not embarrassed by your first edition, by your first draft, by your first iteration of your product or service, then you launched too late. Now think about that. If you're not completely embarrassed by that thing, you launched too late. You worked on it too long. Get it out there. It's fine. That's how things occur. So let me give you a couple questions to leave with you. Um, and I'd like you to eventually write these down. So what decision do you already know you need to make? What decision do you already know you need to make? And what action do you already know that you need to take? So write that down. Write down. I need to take this. I need to make this decision. I need to decide to get my permits. I need to decide to call the person about the rental space. Whatever it is, I need to make this decision. And what action do I need to take? Write those down. Now, the next thing that you need to do is after you've written them down, put a date beside it when you're going to complete them. Put a date beside it. I need to decide this by Friday. And I need to take this action today. And just remember this, even Google Maps, even in Google Maps, the journey begins with getting off your own street. We'll chat soon.